DJ and PK, we are brought to you in part by Teton Wealth. Ethan Millard from Teton Wealth will be in studio with Hans and Scotty Monday to help you with your retirement plans. Tune in or visit retireteton.com. Joining us now, the guy who's picked 839 consecutive NFL games correctly and will give you 3 bona fide winners this weekend. Pull out your credit cards, activate your phones. Here he comes, Mr. Lockdown, guaranteed Stone Cold winner himself, Kevin Graham.
That's the best tease I've ever heard.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Little inside humor there. I like that. That's good. So, sorry, I had to put my programming hat. Again, if people are listening, I used to be a program director, and teasing is key. And DJ, I thought, had a really, really boring tease.
Well, then he came back and
your
knocked it out of the park.
name is so golden. It's saying Kevin Graham is coming up. It's just saying like John Lennon and Michael Jackson join the show next.
Tiger Woods.
There you go. Then that would be amazing if that could happen. By the way, I loved PK man crushing Johnny Harleen there. Like, hey, Jersey Johnny, I'm from Jersey too. Like, you guys were in The Sopranos together at Bada Bing hanging out. That was really fun. Yeah.
Just another day in my life.
Hey, it's me, Johnny Harleen, John Gotti. It's all the same.
That's right. It just made me laugh. Well, there he is. There's that jersey. Oh, gentlemen, how's rivalry week? Everybody excited?
No, I feel as little passion for the rivalry game as I have ever felt around town. For a conference game, I think some of the non-conference games recently, I don't. It's a big game. There's no doubt about that, but it's not as big as it was when they were. And I think it just can't be when it's not the last game of the season. Because no matter what happens, there's 3 more games with a lot on the line.
Yeah, I know, but remember the day? Maybe again, all 3 of us are old school. I mean, it used to be a rivalry game.
Back in my day.
Yeah, I think it's people are talking about it. And if BYU wins, I think it works to their favor because I wouldn't want to have to play the rivalry game and then the next week go down to Arlington, especially, Kevin, when we're listening. And I know it's just talking heads on television, but I watched that thing the other night, and there's guys saying, well, no matter what happens in the regular season, to get in the playoff, they're going to have to win in Arlington. Wow. Yeah. So you go 12-0, you're telling me they got to go 13-0 in order to get to the playoff? And I'd much rather beat Utah first week of November than the last week and have to turn around and fly to Texas if that's the case. I can't imagine if they go 12-0 how they could be left out. But I think the place will be jacked on Saturday night.
Yeah, well, I think so too. And again, if you read the rumors, I think I saw your tweet, DJ, and I actually checked out the tickets. There's a lot of tickets available, and I'm hearing a lot of BYU fans might be buying some of those tickets up. Which, by the way, I get it. Fans have their right to do whatever they want to do, but come on, Ute fans. I mean, it's the BYU game. You don't give. I mean, and here's the thing too. If somehow Utah wins this game, Ute fans who sold their tickets, you're out. You can't brag that, I took $300 from you for the seed and we won. Ha ha ha. No, you weren't there. You're done. You're out. Your fan privileges are taken away.
Your fan privileges.
In fact, if I'm Utah, I'm finding those season ticket holders, whoever's selling their tickets, I'm like, look, you're done. We have a list of other people who want those seats. You're out.
So they can't buy them again next year?
Exactly.
Okay,
they're done.
Okay.
This is the first of Kevin
you can't
Graham's.
do that. It's the rivalry game. I mean, I don't care you're 4-4. I don't care. By the way, I looked this up. Do you realize when the season began, they already had lines on all these games? Utah was a 17-point favorite in this game when the season began this year, and now BYU being a favorite, but I'm a little concerned. Again, I don't understand Vegas and BYU. It was 5 points, I think, to start. Now it's down to 2.5. I guess the rumor that Brandon Rose, who completed 46.7% of his passes last week, is going to come in and just light it up like Brett Ratliff did in 2005. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, we've had you complain about the first. I know you've got 2 more in you because we always count on 3. Revoking fan privileges. I'll write that down as number 1 complaint.
You're out of here.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I get it. I know it's tough economic times. I get it. But, geez, people. It's the rivalry game, it's amazing.
Well, yeah, whatever happened to be there thick and thin?
Yeah, right? That doesn't exist anymore, apparently. I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's going to be a fun game. I'm excited to watch it. I'll be sitting here with probably a nice glass of bourbon and a fire going at 7:30 at night Pacific time.
Oh, me too.
Because they put it right in prime time.
I'll be in the press box with a nice glass of bourbon.
That's right. In Utah, they'll serve bourbon. Is it still non-caffeine Coca-Cola at BYU games?
No. Those are the old days. They go wild.
Okay, good.
They're just jumping all over the place now.
Fully caffeinated.
Yeah.
Let me say this, though, guys. I did do some research because I want to bring some knowledge and contribute something to your guys' show. I went through the last 15 games between Utah and BYU. Of course, Utah won 12 of those games. And here's where this game, this is where it comes down to. I was looking at stats. I'm trying to figure out what any common denominator here. The team that won the turnover battle won 11 of those 15 games. 3 games were even. The only anomaly was in 2016 when Utah had 6 turnovers to BYU's 3, but somehow Utah won that game still, 20-19.
Yeah, they got the stop at the end there. That was a crazy game.
Yeah, and so to me, it's as simple as that. Like, if you look at total turnovers in the last 15 games, Utah has committed 19 turnovers. Do you guys want to take a guess on how many turnovers BYU's committed in the last 15 games they played?
40.
Close, 38.
Nice.
I mean, is that unbelievable? I mean, like, that's why BYU loses. They did this back in the days where in games they were favored at times, they would go in and just to the bed. They just boom and just couldn't handle the pressure or whatever. Now, if you look at BYU's 3 wins, 2 of those 3 BYU wins was 0 turnovers. And they matched Utah with 2 in their 2007 win. And what's amazing to me for Ute fans, and again, look at turnovers. Utah, 0 turnovers in 7 of their 12 wins. Now, where the flip is now, BYU is 16th. I feel like I'm David Locke right now breaking this down. BYU 16th nationally in turnover margin.
Yeah.
So maybe BYU can get over this. But then, of course, you got a lot of players on BYU side as Utah that never played in this game. So that's what I think is fun. That's why Ute fans shouldn't be selling their tickets, because I really think they have a shot in this game.
Right. And
with that said, BYU should win, but they have a shot.
They do have a shot, and if they win that game and you're not there, that's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Dollars don't replace
100%
memories.
agree with it. I mean, how can you not? I mean, Ute fans, remember back in the day, like 2012, Ute fans, I was there, they rushed the field 3 times. I mean, now you're going to miss out rushing the field once if they win, maybe 2.
Maybe 4.
6, 8.
New rivalry record for amount of times one fan base rushes the field. That'll be a great memory. So next year, that'll be another, to your mix as you guys are doing this radio show for the next 20 years, in rivalry week, every week you talk about the same stuff. You'll be able to bring that up each time. That'll be great. Yeah.
And in this 4-game losing streak, the Utes have forced 1 turnover in each of the 4 games. And we had Kyle Whittingham on and asked him about the defense, and that was the first thing he went to lamenting right there. The defense did a lot of good things. I don't understand the people, and we've got some of them today. We'll get to them later this hour when we read our feedback. They are just destroying the defense. Like, the defense is not the problem. They're not even giving up 20 points a game. I think it's like 16 and a half points a game. They're really good, but they are not generating takeaways. They're not doing that. And the offense needs the short fields, and they're not getting them very often.
Well, and again, can Retzloff not be like the quarterbacks of BYU's past and turn the ball over? I mean, it's really that. And the other thing is, in this game, and we've seen it over the years, is big plays. Who's going to make the big play? Whether it's a pick 6, maybe that's what Utah's going to need. I mean, for them to win, that's what they're going to need. They're going to need BYU to struggle, BYU to turn the ball over, and make big plays, because offensively they're horrible.
Right.
I mean, everyone's debating, I know, if Rose is going to be the quarterback, I guess, is what I heard you guys were leaning towards, or whatever the case might be. Does it really matter? Neither one of these quarterbacks have played very well. I mean, Rose was not great last week.
No, I
and
believe
Wilson has been up and down. So, again, unless one of them has a Ratliff-like performance, I don't think you can rely there. I mean, honestly, the best Utah case scenario is the quarterbacks don't make any mistakes. Somehow run the ball, keep the game low scoring, no mistakes on offense, and you need a big play out of your defense, and hope for the best to win a 3-0 game like back in the old days.
Big plays in the pass game too. The Utes have only scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, but they got a 70-yard touchdown pass over the top to Money Parks and a 71-yarder, I think, that was a short pass
Basically
tight
a
end
tight
to
end
Keithy.
screen.
Yeah. And then Keithy, they threw it 2 yards and he ran the other 68, 69 yards and scored. Just ran away from everybody. They're not putting drives together. Keep the ball in front of you, make them do 8, 10, 12 plays. Yeah. They might do it once, but there's nothing that says they're going to do this, 3 or 4 times in a game and beat you. It seems to me like if BYU scores 24 points, they win the game. The Utes haven't been to 24 since in any Big 12 game. They did get there against Utah State and Southern Utah.
They've never done it in Big 12 competition in the history of the program.
This is their first year in the Big 12 with half a season under their belt.
Well, okay.
I think the other thing for Utah, I think this is again where a rivalry game comes into play, is because maybe the fans aren't into it as much, but the players are, and you can see it. I watched Whittingham's press conference earlier this week. I saw the comments, the FBYU thing. Who's that? Jalen Glover that said that.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're seeing is this is Utah's season. And obviously, Whittingham and his coaching staff is instilling into his players is that this is their season. I mean, so they're going to come out jacked up. And if they can come out jacked up, get an early lead, you've seen this. Confidence starts to build.
Right.
BYU has had issues before at that stadium, and maybe they'll crumble. But I think for BYU is if you can survive that initial jolt of energy that Utah might have, they're the better team. And they should be able to ride it out, and they should be able to win this game. I'm actually more worried for the games after this one, whether there'll be a letdown the following week for BYU. But this one's going to be, I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting, intriguing game. And I'm excited to see it. And I'm sorry for all you Utah fans that won't be there, in case your team pulls off the upset.
We know Whittingham's best when he's backed into a corner. I mean, that's just who he is. And this team, if you want to go to a bowl, and there's some debate whether you want to go to a bowl, but if you do, you probably have to win this game. Because if you lose this game, next week Colorado, following week Iowa State.
Trying to find 2 wins in the last 3 games gets difficult.
UCF on Thanksgiving, you got to get on a plane and go across the country on Thanksgiving night.
I mean, that's
I think that's a Friday game, isn't it? Yeah,
tough run.
And then it doesn't seem like there's a lot of. Yeah, so would they go Wednesday? And that's what teams have been doing when they've been playing in Florida, is leaving a day earlier rather than the day before. So
but if
2
they're,
days.
Yeah.
So who wants to spend Thanksgiving there? That's a mail-in game. If they've
already got 7 losses, just fly in the morning of the game.
Oh yeah. It'll probably be
go full on Croton and just morning of the game. We'll be there.
Drop
Don't
him
worry.
Parachute onto the field. You know what I mean? Just fly him over the stadium and they all just jump out.
That'd be epic if they parachuted in
with the game ball.
They would just be ready to go in uniform and ready to roll.
I think whatever Utah has, that's what they're going to give.
Mm-hmm. And I think BYU though is better.
Yeah, I mean it may not be enough, but whatever they've got, they will give it. I'm pretty confident of that. That probably on paper right now doesn't look like it's enough. I understand that, but you don't know. And we special teams could make a big play or screw it up somehow. So football on a 1-game basis in a rivalry game, boy, I wouldn't put a penny on this game.
No, I wouldn't either. Especially with 2.5. I mean, I'm really surprised.
2.5? Well, wait a second.
That's what I saw on ESPN.
Maybe he will put a penny on the game if it's only 2.5.
I'm calling my cousin Vinny.
That's right. In Jersey.
Yeah.
Because sports gambling will never be illegal in Utah. So, yeah, you got to keep your bookie.
Right. I mean, I've got relatives who did that. I may, I'll do 2.5. Wow, that seems really low. That's a play.
Yeah, I miss it though. It's a great rivalry. I mean, I've had a chance to cover the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry on both sides. Worked in Columbus for a few years, and then obviously worked in Michigan and Detroit area. And this one stands right up. I mean, the passion, the anger. It does dishearten me, and maybe I was a little hard on Utah fans, but you know what? You deserve it. I mean, it's just really disheartening.
Maybe I was hard on it, but you deserve it.
You do. You deserve it.
When you weren't, when you say
if
you deserve it,
you're not being hard on him. You're being fair. That's the definition.
Say, maybe I was hard on him, but you guys suck. You doubled down, is what you've done.
You bums.
I can't wait to see how much blue is in that stadium. I swear to God, if it's one of those situations where there's like I would see this, like when you go see a game, DJs, in LA, like when I went to a Rams-Niners game once a year or two ago, and it was 80% Niner fans in the stadium. It's like same thing like PK, in Arizona, like whenever the Yankees show up or whatever, it's 75% Yankee fans in the stadium against the D-backs or whatever. So I hope it doesn't go that far for Ute fans' sake, but for BYU fans, they have a chance to own that stadium if they get rolling.
I am a little concerned. Late game, some imbibing, some bourbon, and normally the fans BYU fans are over there, and now if they're sitting
they're
amongst
going to be everywhere,
and they start to mouth off.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it doesn't, but we were talking about this earlier. You see this every Monday on video in the NFL of these brawls, whether they're on the concourse or in the actual stadium portion of the area, and that would mar it. And let's just hope that does not happen, because if there is way more BYU fans and they win, then that could get a little nasty.
Yeah, it could. But you know what? I think, and you got to remember this, BYU and Utah fans, you're going to see each other in church the next morning anyway. So you better not beat the crap out of each other and then show up at a ward and be there and look at each other with black eyes.
I think most BYU fans,
stuff.
when they see Utah people at church, it's like in a disciplinary council.
That's what you should do. Rope off. Do they have that? They could put a Utah section in the back.
Yeah, like
Veteran Stadium when they had the judge in the stadium.
Or if you go to a game, it's a non-alcoholic section. Yeah.
You don't want to be. You don't want to be the guy on social media at the Commanders-Giants game who was yelling or whatever. He was in the top row of the section, looked like there were 6 or 7 rows, and he was yelling at somebody off camera, and he was really giving it to him, being a tough guy. And he turned around to leave, and he tripped over the chair, and he rolled down 6 rows, and he's like 6'3", 340. Right, and he's getting up, tugging his shirt down over his gut, and he's getting up. Yeah, and another thing. You're like, okay, well, that's going to be out there forever. Your grandkids are going to think that's hilarious.
Yeah, be prepared on that. Yeah, that's a great point.
Don't do that.
Whatever you do, most likely will end up out there. And when you're at a game, there's no question.
We're enemies this week. You realize that, Kevin, don't you?
Oh, I know. I thought about
Jets
going
and
to that.
Cardinals, man.
And I thought I shouldn't go to that. Cardinals, Jets. That's going to be. I give your Cardinals a lot of credit. I mean, they're a lot better than I thought they were going to be. First place in the NFC West is just amazing to me. And they've beaten some decent teams, obviously. So, in the Jets, the Jets are the Jets. And
this is the kind of game they win. This is the kind of game they win. They're going to mess up that draft pick. I mean, they're not going to 11-6 here and winning out, but they can get to 7 wins and that way have a 12th pick.
Yeah, that's right. Go 7-10. Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, that's good. All I know is I'm excited about this. There's one thing, and I'm not going to talk politics. Don't worry. But the one thing that does happen with Trump winning is that Woody Johnson most likely will be sent over to the UK again as ambassador, which means he can get the hell away from the Jets, which I'll be very happy about. But then his brother takes over, and he's as incompetent.
Oh, okay, so then it doesn't matter.
Steelers Commanders is big game this week. Are the Commanders for real 7-2? Are the Steelers for real 6-2? Somebody's going to come walking out of this game feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by Washington. Daniels is the real deal. I mean, obviously they got the fluky win with the Hail Mary over Chicago. But both teams are in. They both made trades at the trade deadline to try to shore up some things. Pittsburgh obviously making the trade with the Jets to get the wide receiver. Washington's got a couple guys they brought in as well. Who would have thought this is a game you would have circled, midway through the season, basically, to say, hey, this was a huge game. I don't think it's a Super Bowl preview, but obviously both teams are good enough that they're going to get to the playoffs most likely. Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson, I'm still questioning just because he had such a downfall in the last few years, but. Pittsburgh has a system, and they have a really good running game again. Harris has been really strong this year running the football. So, that's going to be a fun one to watch. I'm looking forward to that one, and there's a few decent games, I think, this week.
So, KC clearly has separated themselves as they've had for the last several years, and you got experience in the Motor City. What about the Lions?
Lions are legit. My brother's a Lions fan. I'm a Jets fan. Clearly, my brother and I did not know how to pick teams when we were younger. But now they're together. They got it. They got a system. They got a good coach, or at least as crazy as he is. But at least he has a. We talk about culture. I think you guys were talking about culture earlier. They have a really strong culture. So. And they're on a 6-game winning streak. They have more touchdowns. I read this 28 than incompletions in the 6-game winning streak they've had. 28 touchdowns, 24 incompletions. That's the first time in NFL history that's done that.
Wow, Jared Goff.
Goff is out. He's the best passer rating in those 6 games in any 6-game streak in NFL history for Goff. I mean, they're third offensively, they're fourth defensively, they're number one special teams. They are the complete team. Now, on the Chiefs, which is interesting to me, and I read this, Kansas City, yet they're 8-0, and they find ways to win, but they have the smallest scoring differential of any 8-0 team in NFL history. And so there's something... I don't know. It's just they're living a lot on the edge. I mean, for the first time, the last year they looked like they were beatable at times too, and then they win a Super Bowl. But they're just kind of edging along, and then Mahomes gets banged up a little bit, with his ankle. So I don't know. But then they get Hopkins, and they have Andy Reid, the best coach. So the Chiefs are the favorite until somebody can knock them off. So but Chiefs Lions right now, if you had to pick right now, I don't know about what you two would pick, but that seems to be the logical choice.
Yeah, it is a logical choice, but logic may not hold for 3 months. Guys
kind of like hurt. The rivalry game.
Right. Yeah. You say Andy Reid, he's the best coach, and everybody agrees with that now, but in Philly he couldn't win the big one, and eventually they push him out the door, and in Kansas City literally had a plane on the tarmac waiting to pick him up. Yeah. Yeah. But every time I hear about coaches in trouble, I look at who their quarterback is. Because what's the difference between Andy Reid now and then? Well, the obvious difference is he's got a better quarterback. And Taylor Swift. And Travis Kelce. Yeah. But he's got a better quarterback.
Again, that's coaching. Robert Saleh got fired by the Jets. What was his problem? He had no quarterback. And Zach Wilson couldn't do it. It wasn't all Zach Wilson's fault, but a lot of it. That's the story of the league.
Aaron Rodgers.
If I'm Bill Belichick, who's sitting off to the side, if he decides he doesn't want to hang out on the beach with his 24-year-old mermaid, and wants to get back into coaching, don't take a team if you don't have a quarterback. They're talking about the Cowboys. Well, Prescott, is he really the quarterback? $60 million a year. Now he's hurt, probably going to be gone for most of the season, if not the full season. I don't know if that's it. I would take a team that at least has a good quarterback already, or one that they strongly believe will emerge into a player.
Oh, so Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh. Yeah. Jim Harbaugh picked the right team.
Run to Herbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are. I read today or yesterday. Yeah, someone said Jim Harbaugh is the best coach in the NFL. He just took a 7-year break to go to Michigan, and he remained the best coach in the NFL because he's flipped that team around. And whether you like that or not, DJ, but they're better.
Herbert's a player.
Yeah, he is. Give him a running game. Give him the play action, play tough nose, get a better defense, and the Chargers will be a team to look at.
He gets them to eliminate mistakes. They haven't won big games yet. Maybe they will. But you get to the middle and maybe even get to the upper third if you just do what you're supposed to. Don't make mistakes. Beat the bad teams and beat some of the mediocre teams. Yeah. And, they're out there winning games 24-10 or whatever. There's nothing really highlight-oriented and crazy, but they don't make mistakes. And you can win a lot of regular season games if you just don't make mistakes and beat yourself.
Yeah, I'm always curious, and I don't know, maybe you guys had perspective on this too. It's like, how is a coach, how do you get that in your players to not make mistakes? Doesn't it then go back to the players? They just got to be better players?
I think they have to believe in what you're selling. They have to believe it 100% and have no doubt in what your guys are telling them to do. And I've seen it both ways. And when you don't have it and guys don't believe, forget it. You're lost. Mm-hmm. But if you do have it and they've got decent talent, you just look at BYU. They had basically the same players for Croton versus Mendenhall. But they got to believe under Mendenhall, and they doubted Croton. He took essentially the same team. And 2 years later is winning 10, 11 games. And BYU's recruiting in those days wasn't really different from year to year. And because everything was equal, it wasn't, they weren't independent, and Utah wasn't in the Pac-12. And it changed, but at that time it didn't. So I think part of the deal, when you talk about culture, I think culture is another word for belief. Mm-hmm.
And Sean Payton's doing that in Denver. They're not great,
No, he is.
but they're eliminating mistakes. They got a winning record. Their defense.
They're not legit, though.
Well, because you don't believe in their quarterback, you don't believe in their offense, right? But the defense, the Chiefs are getting praised. They're undefeated because of their defense. Well, the Chiefs' defense, I think, is 5th in yardage, and the Broncos are 6th. The Broncos are 3rd in fewest points. The Chiefs are 4th. The defenses are comparable. And maybe that keeps Denver in the game this weekend, and maybe somebody finally makes one more play and beats the Chiefs because they've been one play away from losing so many times. But ultimately,
point it is.
Nobody,
it's leadership, it's belief, it's mental. Bronco, he came in with his business books and PowerPoints and made the team believe, and they went on and won a lot of games.
But the Chiefs have Mahomes, and the Broncos are starting a rookie. So even if the Broncos do something right and win one game one weekend, nobody really believes in them. Nor are they that entertaining, and this is entertainment. Whereas Mahomes, even if he's throwing more interceptions and touchdowns, he's still wildly entertaining. And we figure out
they're America's team.
And we figure somehow he's going to get it done. We don't know how, but somehow he's going to get it done.
Yeah, and the ratings would be great. They're America's team, and Taylor Swift's in the press box.
There you go.
In a suite or whatever, and they go to her every time Travis Kelce touches the ball or drops the ball or whatever.
Kevin, you're the man, as always. Thanks for the guaranteed winners. Your locks of the week are brilliant, as always.
Can I give my rivalry prediction? Because in my effort to try to, make sure that you guys get the highest ratings possible, on Twitter, K Graham Content, I put it out there that I would pick. You guys know my picking record. I will pick the team that they vote for. BYU fans didn't quite understand, I think, what they were doing. So 79.9%, I think it's close to what you guys have, pick BYU, 20.1% Utah. So my official prediction, BYU 24, Utah 10. That means the Utes most likely will win. And you Ute fans who sold your tickets for $25 and some peanuts and sitting wherever you are watching the game, you're out. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Kevin.
Go Utes. Just kidding. Goodbye, guys.
See ya. Kevin Graham joins us every Friday to talk football here on The Zone. DJ and PK, everything you missed in this show next.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.